Howdy, everyone, and welcome KCIW listeners of 100.7 at kciw.org, Brookings, Oregon. And we are now syndicated, so we're welcoming the listeners at KZZH 96.7 FM, Access, Humboldt, Eureka, California. So welcome, everybody, to Joyously Free with me, none better than author Joni Lindenmeyer. I'm so glad you're tuning in today. A little bit about me. I'm a 34-year resident of Harbor, Oregon, a retired Del Norte High School teacher, and a 2025 Lambda-nominated author who has published 3 books in 2 years, including my audiobook, in my voice, of my memoir, None Better. I love life and love being the producer and host of this show. I'm so glad that you are here today. Well, let's begin with our morning salutation. I think you remember how it goes. I say it's a brand new day, and you get to respond with never been lived before. Here we go. It's a brand new day.
Never been lived before.
Yahoo! Congrats. That's the way to start every new day. Well, this Radio Gadio show, as Will and Viv named it, is a show that talks about LGBTQ plus stories and tips, along with religion, church, faith, spirituality, and joy. Simply said, the purpose of the show is to share, radiate, and spread abundant joy and freedom. Hence the title of my second book, Joyously Free, co-authored with Elizabeth Ann Atkins of twosisterswriting.com. In this radio broadcast, as well as every day of my life, there is no hate speech, no hate behaviors, and no bullying. It will be blasted with the 3 C's: courage, confidence, and collaboration. Let us seek together understanding, think out of the box, be courageous, be confident, and let's collaborate. Be open-minded, just as an open parachute. Well, our special hearts are open today, as instead of our quote or a reading from our scripture, I want you to know we're going to have a special prayer coming up in just a second. But I excitedly believe in hope, in the power of the divine, that Jesus, God, whatever name you put on a higher being, is always with me and with you. So be not afraid or troubled, saddened or depressed. Joy and peace are an internal expression of love and harmony that is already within us, and we only have to reach deep within and let it out. All is well with my soul, for love is abundant and everlasting. Let's take a little bit to center ourselves before we have a prayer with music this morning. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath in with the good and out with doubt. Again, breathing through your nose. Breathe in with hope and out from your mouth with fears. Last one. Take a big, deep breath in with joy and out with worry or despair. In the name of our Mother Earth, God our Creator, Jesus our Redeemer, and the blowing winds of the Holy Spirit, we say, good morning, Jesus. Good morning, God and Spirit. Thank you for being with us on this beautiful day. And so I pass the microphone with the music soul of Patrick Quivy for our morning prayer today. Enjoy, everybody.
All right. This is the 2 minutes of fame.
All right. Go for it.
I was thinking about this for the last month or so about our topic today, identity and trauma, stress. And I remember in high school, I which is well over 50, 60 years now, I wrote this little ditty in the middle of trying to figure out who I was. I was walking along, and I discovered I had toes. Running to a wall, just looking at my nose. Help me, I'm trapped in a human body. Was running so far that I looked real near. I was running and hiding from my one and only fear. Help me, I'm trapped in this human body. Now to be a human being, kid, it isn't all that bad. It can be real good now, son. Just look at your dad. Don't you worry about it. We'll all look just the same. But don't try to be anything else, or we'll call you insane. Your mother and I are real proud of your human body. So I grew up from that day, misshapen and confused. And on my back I wear the sign that says to all of you, help me, I'm trapped in this human body.
Oh, that is absolutely beautiful. Everybody, let me introduce you to my friend, a licensed clinical social worker and counselor, Patrick Quivy. Welcome, Patrick. Thank you for your heart and soul. We're getting our headphones on our head here. There we go. Oh, my gosh. Our topic today is trauma and identity. What a beautiful, well-written song. And I loved it. You are so talented. Thank you for being here.
Like most people, I was talented at one time. So that goes back, I think I was 16 and you know, every which way of trying to figure out who am I and not that, you know.
Oh, my gosh.
And so...
That's a lifetime mission, isn't it? It's a lifetime mission.
Beware of getting the answer. It might be over. You know?
Oh, my gosh. There you go. There you go. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, we are having fun here at KCIW today. And so we want to thank you all beautiful listeners on the Oregon coast and Northern California coast to join us here for Joyously Free. As I've said, Patrick Quivy is our guest speaker. And so we want to just make sure that you are in tune and ready to go with our topic, his wisdom. And Patrick, drum roll. Let it rip. Trauma and identity. What can you tell us today?
Well, everything I learned from people talking to me. I found out a few years ago that I don't have much to say. They do. Oh. But let me tell you a few things I've learned.
Okay.
And in this day of managed care where it's in and out and you use behavioral conditioning to get people going in three days and out, it's really hard to actually listen to people. But since I was not a part of that for a long time, people come in and talk to me, and over time things just sort of roll out, and you hear what they have to say, and you watch and you listen real close, and the clues come up, and you realize what's really going on, and they'll tell you. Sherlock Holmes was reputed to say, genius loci, watch the situation long enough and it'll explain itself.
Aha.
So...
and watch means, oh my gosh, you can pick up on people's emotions. You can see their facial expressions. You can see and feel the depth of their heart, whether it's pain, hurt, trauma, or joy, or all the above, huh?
Yeah. You just watch where they are present in the moment and consider what is their existential reality? What is it like to be you in this situation? Forget not all of it, but don't pay attention to all the language too. You know, you got to listen to what is this person's situation, and sometimes they don't know, but they'll eventually reveal it. So, just looking at the whole idea of identity, and you know, in some ways that's a relatively new, modern, not quite industrial age, but it's a modern post-Renaissance idea. And one of my favorite authors is a guy named Julian Jaynes, and he's an anthropologist, and he's very well known now because what he wrote 40 plus years ago is just upheld the time of reading through other anthropologists and scholars and going, wow, he had something to say. And what he was saying was that hundreds of years ago, before the Golden Age of Greece and during the arrival of literacy in the Mediterranean civilized world, before that, people didn't really have a concept of their self. And you look into literature of the times and what people were going through, they tended to hear voices. So, Agamemnon would say, well, I guess it was just a thing that I would go and destroy Troy and all the rest because the gods willed it so. So in other words, the rage that Achilles had and the vengeance that Agamemnon had, all these singular Greek figures that supposedly had a personality, they were just listening to voices. And this was a common thing of the Mediterranean or the civilized world as we knew it back then. Even the Old Testament is full of the major prophets hearing the voice of God, and that was not unusual. And so you hear it today. You hear it today differently. No one told me on television, or no one told me what to do. So the exterior locus of control is seen as outside oneself. And if you're going to invent yourself, you're still running against the grain. You're still having to grow up like it's 3000 BC. So that's what I began to notice, is that when people come in to say, all right, I'm depressed, I got problems with my kids, I got my wife and all that, we handle the usual problems, which gives us the usual headaches. And then after that, we're dealing with our identity.
Yeah.
Am I a good person, my character, or am I good enough to be in the country club, or do you really want to be a country club person?
Yeah.
All these things come up to finally deciding, what is the shape of who I am? And if we're dependent style people, as is our history, then we don't ask that question. We ask, who am I supposed to be? And
what has society made me to be, maybe even?
Yeah. And in the days that we're in now, with huge mass communications and dialed-in profiling, to be your own person feels almost illegal at times.
Wow. Not for me. I am literally out there, and it's like, oh, boy. But you know what? I hear where you're coming from. Keep going.
Yeah, keep smuggling the truth there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, I wrote all this stuff down, and I knew it would kind of disappear when I got in here. But so, our concept of ourself, a self, is it emerges right from the beginning. We cry, we feel.
Yes.
And our mother looks at us and says, oh, poor baby, in which case they smile, and we mirror it. All of our learning, if you watch children, it's amazing. They play follow the leader. I've been watching my grandchildren. The one imitates the other. We do this mirroring. It's a concept of empathy. It's a concept of connection. And there's something just biological about it. It says, I see, I do. And so we develop a sense that we exist because someone else told us we do. Someone else poured their energy into us, and we feel energized. And if we don't get that, children who are not given attention, if left alone, they have what we call failure to thrive.
Oh, I know. I've seen it.
You've seen it, yeah. And people waste away in front of you, children, and they can die, And then if they don't get enough, and you meet people like this who are older children and even adults, and you get the feeling like, knock, knock, who's there? And it takes a long time to get the answer, They're not as full as the investment of another person, be it training, be it interest, being emotions, just having a sense of being invited to the party and lively.
Yes.
So a couple hundred years ago, probably most people, if you told them you can be anything you want to be, they would say, right, no, I'm my daddy's son and we're farmers, and that would have been a really good thing. But it's only in the last 150, 200 years that people get this idea that, well, I'm free to be a person.
Yes.
And I'm free to construct a life, construct an identity.
Yes.
And
can I jump in there?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, Patrick, this so reminds me. I went to the Coos Bay, Southern Oregon Pride just a couple weeks ago, and at my booth, it was beautiful. This little girl, I'm going to say girl, I don't know if she's a girl or what her identity is, and says, Mommy, I want that book. She's looking at the None Better pink cover and says to Mommy, I want that book. And Mommy says, well, why do you want that book? And she goes, it's two women. It's two women. They look like they love each other. And so Mommy says, well, why don't we get it next week at Harold's Place, which is a bookstore in Coos Bay. And the young child says, Mommy, I know I told you I'm lesbian, but I think I'm bi now. I think I'm bi. And mommy says, I love you no matter what, and you can be whoever you want to be. It was so powerful, Patrick. It's exactly what you're talking about, that identity. Keep going.
Well, wisely, she gave her permission, and wisely, she didn't make her stick to a 6-year-old idea.
Right.
And this is, one of the areas of trauma. I think I'll skip forward a little bit. I'm kind of traditional in my understanding of some things. And there was an author, writer, psychologist, Eric Erikson. And he talked about stages. Freud did too. And Freud's model was really linked to biology. I mean, this guy was an MD. He studied eels. Sex life of eels. But we go through these passages. We're old enough to control our own bowel movements. We're old enough to walk down the street by ourselves. We get to 5, 6 years old, and we're playing. I remember playing fireman. I remember playing cowboy. I also remember playing Superman, and the cape was my towel, and I jumped off the ledge. And suddenly it wasn't play anymore. I now know that I'm immortal, and barely that, because I hurt pretty bad after the cape did not work. So at 6, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you can play at who you want to be. And there aren't many consequences. And you can stretch that envelope of what feels good and what doesn't. And then again, we get up to be about, 13 or so. The hormones are driving us again. It's not just the body growing up, it's the hormones. Our mind is expanding. Suddenly we begin to think in terms that are a little more complicated and not so concrete. We have a conscience, maybe. And we do what we call a dress rehearsal. You get your driver's license when you're 16. Maybe you can rehearse a little bit when you're 15. Now they stretch the rehearsal out to you can't drive your friends around for a while. So this is a time when you can feel out these roles and kind of say, well, does this really fit? Is this my aptitude? Is this my is this how I'm thrown into the world, what I'm good at? Is this what I really want? And you don't get that until you're a little bit separate from your parents. You go hang out with your friends, I remember I had a young client, and she was a very parentified kind of grown-up girl. And she would remind me at times, she says, even though I act like I'm 16 or 17 and feel like it, I'm really just 13. And then one day she said, I think I'm lesbian. And I said, yeah, and you're 13. Visit that again when you're 18, because you don't have to make any decisions for a while. So
But yet she still needs to live out of that identity.
She needs to be able to play with that, to see does this fit, and look at the stressors she was on, tremendous stressors all around, where she had to be basically an adult by the age of 12, and trying on 12 adult decisions, 13-year-old adult decisions. So part of the development of an identity is allowing for a smooth transition through the phases of being with one's parents, being nurtured, moving on a little bit, moving to school, moving with your play group, starting to try on who you want to be, getting the competence to do that, not just the personality, but just the character behind it. And then you've got a chance to see if this identity fits. But trauma, and that's the big thing here. That's what we want to look at. What interrupts all this, for good, bad, or worse?
So with sexual identity, do you think that people are born with their sexual identity?
The research is looking more and more like the pendulum, or
I know I was born lesbian. I
Yeah.
know I can trace it back to kindergarten and first grade. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's some things that are just inherent. I mean, I found out about my father had a stepsister he never knew about, and I read her obituary, and my God, she looked the same, she had the same hobbies and all that, and they never were in touch with each other. So there was this sort of determinism that we have of biological determinism that says this is who you are. Sometimes it seems to clash with the presentation. I look like a woman, I feel like a man. Yet it's complicated, and it takes time for fruition to be able to be handled with kind of love and concern and not rushed. So I think some people are just born that way, as the song goes.
As Lady Gaga sings. Yep,
Yeah.
Yep.
And why does it feel so right when she sings it?
To me, it is. Yeah.
And then there's lots of people whose sense of self is fluid. And
Absolutely.
and I think in some ways that is the big issue of our 20th, 21st century, is that we have, marching down over the last 3,000 years, a continuum of going towards the ability to choose yourself. And, 100 plus, 150 years ago, most of us lived agriculturally, and then there was a move towards cities. And eventually you had people going to college. Suddenly, the economy and democracy and communications suddenly allows for the choice of who you want to be. And just on political aside, I look at all the repression that's going on against the DEI initiatives, that our entire culture, voting rights, gay and lesbian, recognition of all their rights, etc. Its net effect, if it's not its purpose, is to shut down the self.
Yeah. And that's trauma. Let's
That
get
is
back to
trauma.
trauma. Get into the trauma stuff here, Patrick, please.
Everybody has trauma. We used to think in the last 50 years, it's just the guys in Vietnam or war, et cetera. And truly that was where we began to identify it. But I'll bet you've had trauma.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I bet you've had it.
I have. And not just where things were bad or painful. The operating principle with trauma is you're in deep water and you're alone. And not so much alone in terms of is there anybody around, but your situation is that you're not getting the help, you're not getting the assurance that you're going to live through this, or a recognition of what you're going through. So and there's lots of things we can look at what happens within the brain, and there are definite brain processes and there are definite cognitive shifts that happen. So let's talk a little bit about what happens. Let's suppose...
And make sure you throw in some tips for the listeners today on that, okay, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's suppose you step off the curb on a busy street and you see a bus, and it's about 200 yards away. You get enough of an alert to look at that and say, have I got time? Yeah, I got time. And you skirt across the street. That is not a trauma. But there is a 10-ton bus running straight at you, but you're in control. You're also not alone in the sense of society is designed a stop sign for him, So, but if you step off the bus, off the curb, and suddenly there's a bus about 20 feet from you doing 35 miles an hour, you're overwhelmed because you don't even have the 10 seconds to switch into your full alert system, fight or flight. You're arrested. You're stopped. And you're also alone because no one can grab you. Yep. So when these things happen, and they happen maybe over time, several things go on in the brain. We can call it the limbic system, the amygdala, goes into overreaction. The part that does emotional processing, it gets hyperactive. It's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God,
Yeah. Crisis.
And then it has difficulty in distinguishing after that, is that a bus that's a quarter mile away or is it right in front of me? I see a bus, I'm scared. Everything's a red flag. And then, so, you've got the part of the brain that's making learning, hippocampus, it shuts down. So looking at what happens next, I wish we had an hour. What happens next is in the identity of a person, there's no one to talk to. And the brain says, I have to be out of here. It reverts into itself as a way of pulling back. You get the tunnel vision. And then there's no one to hear your voice but you. Yeah. And your voice says, this can't be real. It's a way of keeping it accurate. This is what it is. Another voice is saying, I'm out of here. That can't be real. I wish I were somewhere else. And then at that point, one begins to have a soliloquy of one's own. And there's no one to talk to but yourself. Either no one will believe you or no one's there.
You're going to need to come up with some tips here. We're getting down to just a minute left or so.
All right. So if you're dealing with friends, family, kids especially, and you're getting this feeling that they're not learning from you, what you may actually be doing is talking to the part of that person that they invented as their interior soliloquy that says, well, I'll protect you. Mm-hmm. And out it rolls, and the tough guy is there, and it's not about anything else. It's just about being tough. And you pull Junior aside and say, quit beating on your sister. Quit getting in trouble. Quit stealing stuff. Yeah. And then the situation's over, and it's as if you never talked to them. So we keep doing conditioning, restrictions, limits, parenting,
We got 1 minute. We're down to 30 seconds,
so
Patrick.
The person you were talking to is the person that disappeared. You have to look at the situation that they're in. Are they scared? Are they lonely? Are they stuck? And that's the person that you're trying to get through those shutters that represents something else, the bad boy, bad girl, and say, where's the kid?
Yeah.
And let me talk to the kid. They won't act like they're hearing you, but inside, shuttered away, is someone waking up slowly to someone recognizing who and what they are.
Wow. So we need to listen to each other. We need to be with each other. We need to ask these questions. We need to seek help.
Yep.
Okay? Those are the tips. I hate to cut you off, Patrick. Like you said, we could have gone for another hour, but we got to narrow this down because it's about time to say thank you to Mike Gorse on the film, on the sound, and thank you to KCW for making this all happen, KZZH. And we want to just say, smile big, wear bright colors, seek help. You can do this. We got your back.
Right. And enjoy your human body.
There you go. Love you. Thank you so much, Patrick. You're the best. Bye.